Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go over my review of Monday Night Raw. And welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show. Man, honestly, there's a lot to talk about when it pertains to Monday Night Raw last night. Honestly, I thought it was probably one of the best Raws that we've gotten in the past couple months. And we're going to go all over the details for Monday Night Raw on today's episode. We kick off Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns. Crowd pretty much cheers for Roman Reigns' highly anticipated return. Roman comes out to the ring, but he's quickly interrupted by Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. Reed and Heyman are just standing there at the stage. Roman then finally asks why Reed and Heyman are out here. Are you just going to stand there and stare at me all night? Heyman then tells the crowd to acknowledge the tribal thief. Heyman then hypes up Bronson Reed. Reed then talks about the Wild Samoans. He mentions Roman's father as well as his uncle, and the fact that they'd never been stretchered out. Roman then asks Heyman, what do you think my dad would say right now? Roman says that my dad would say, fight him now. Heyman then says that Reed versus Roman will take place at Crown Jewel in an Australian street fight at Crown Jewel. After that, Roman agrees to the match. Heyman then says bye to the crowd. And as they're leaving, then Roman Reigns says, well, it looks like they're leaving like a couple of bitches. This irated Reed. Reed then rushes to the ring. Reed and Roman then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Roman hitting a Superman punch on Reed in the middle of the ring, followed by Roman hitting another Superman punch on the outside. Roman then puts the number one up, and the fans then acknowledge Roman Reigns. Some interesting stuff there between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Moving on from that, we have Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupri. I thought this was actually a good match. Honestly, probably the best match we've seen from Maxine Dupri. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Becky Lynch and Maxine, with Maxine keeping the pace of the match. Maxine Dupri hits a senton off the apron to the outside, taking out Becky Lynch. Maxine Dupri and Becky Lynch then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Dupri applying an ankle lock on Lynch, but the hold is broken. Dupri then hits a powerbomb on Lynch for a near fall. Dupri then applies another ankle lock on Lynch, but the hold is broken. Dupri then hits a back spin kick on Becky Lynch for a near fall. Becky then was talking to the crowd. Dupri was on the outside as well. Dupri enters the ring. Referee starts the count. And all of a sudden she sounds for the bell, and Becky gets counted out. And your winner of the match due to count out is Maxine Dupri. Hats off to Maxine Dupri for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have Lyra Valkyria taking on Roxanne Perez. I thought it was a decent match. Back and forth matchup between Valkyria and Perez, with Valkyria keeping the pace of the match. Valkyria then hits a moonsault for a near fall, followed by Raquel attacking Bayley, who was ringside. Valkyria sees this. She attacks Raquel as well. This allowed Perez to hit her signature pop rocks on Lyra Valkyria. Pins for the 3. And your winner of the match is Lyra Valkyria. Moving on from that, we have CM Punk. CM Punk comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone. He thanks the fans for cheering on AJ Lee. Punk also talks about Crown Jewel and how he doesn't want to get involved in the matchup between Rollins and Cody Rhodes because he's friends with Rhodes and he doesn't want to get in Rhodes' business. Punk then talks about beating Rollins at WrestlePalooza. Punk then said he wants to earn his world title back. After that, Punk is interrupted by none other than LA Knight. LA Knight comes out of the ring, he grabs a microphone, he talks about him earning the world title. Knight says while he might be a great husband, he is a trash champion. Punk then mocks LA Knight. Knight says that while Punk has beaten everybody, he's beaten Rollins, he's never beat LA Knight. Jey Uso is here. Jay then says that he's the one, says that he's next for the world title. LA Knight says that Jay had his time and it's gone. It's time to move on. Knight says that Jay is not Roman Reigns. After that, Jimmy Uso is here. Jay then hits a super kick on LA Knight. Punk says that Jay needs to get in line. Punk also says that he likes Jey Uso, but not Little Roman. Punk then attacks Jay. Jimmy then hits a super kick on CM Punk. And it looks like there's some hostility here between the Usos and CM Punk. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's Io Sky taking on Kairi Sane. I thought it was a decent match. Back and forth matchup between Io and Kairi, with Io keeping the pace of the match. Io then hits a moonsault to the outside, taking out Kairi Sane. Io then attacks Asuka, who was ringside. Kairi then hits a roll-up on Io Sky, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Kairi Sane. After the match, Asuka rushes the ring. She attacks Io, and then Kairi hits an insane elbow off the top rope, landing on Io Sky. Moving on from that, we have a 6-man tag team matchup. It is Penta teaming up with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio. The match itself, I thought was a good match. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with Penta, Styles, and Lee keeping the pace of the match. Lee hits a powerbomb on Dominic Mysterio, followed by JD McDonough hitting a Spanish fly in the middle of the ring. Rusev is here. Dominic Mysterio looks pretty much lost. He ends up grabbing his titles and takes off. This allowed AJ Styles to hit a Styles Clash on JD McDonough, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match are Penta, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee. Hats off to Penta, Styles, and Lee for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our main event of Monday Night Raw. It is the Usos teaming up to take on LA Knight and CM Punk. The match itself I thought was a good match. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with Knight Punk keeping the pace of the match. Punk hits an elbow drop off the top rope on Jimmy Uso, followed by Jay hitting an Uso splash on CM Punk for a near fall. LA Knight then hits a BFT in the middle of the ring, followed by Jay hitting a spear on CM Punk. Punk somehow gets up, hits a GTS on Jey Uso. Knight then tags in, goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match are LA Knight and CM Punk. Hats off to LA Knight and CM Punk for getting the win in this matchup. A couple of things I want to talk to you guys about when it pertains to Monday Night Raw, man. To be honest with you, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I think this was probably the best Monday Night Raw we've seen in quite some time, to be honest with you. I think what we got last night was a very story-driven show. And I know some people might be out, some fans out there might be like, man, I'm getting tired of this Uso and Bloodline shit and everything else. Look, man, I have been a firm belief that the Bloodline storyline in itself ages like fine wine. I mean, if you look at both sides of the fence here, man, from the Bloodline entirely, you're talking from Solo Sikoa over in SmackDown to what Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jay are doing on Raw. I mean, obviously it's getting better over time. I mean, Roman returned last night in Dallas on Monday Night Raw. A lot of people were anticipating his return. And the past couple weeks we've seen Roman, it's been, this banter back and forth between him and Jay. Roman's trying to, see if Jey Uso can find himself. And that he wants Jey Uso to be the top guy. That he wants to break down barriers and be the top guy on Monday Night Raw. And you see Roman, Jimmy, and Jay backstage. And, Roman, before the night went off the air, Roman had told Jimmy the best thing that Jimmy could do was get out of Jey Uso's way. Now, my issue with this is that we've already seen what Jey Uso has done. As far as him becoming Intercontinental Champion, beating Braun Breaker, to him finally beating Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, him also winning the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso became a top guy, not only for Monday Night Raw, but for WWE. I think this time it's Jimmy Uso's turn. I don't know how they're going to incorporate Jimmy to make Jimmy a top guy out of this entire situation. I just don't know the end game for this little storyline here between Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. Now, obviously there's War Games coming up in November. I get that. But if we're looking at the likes of Roman, Jimmy, and Jay, what's going to happen to Jimmy? We already know what Jay is capable of doing. He's a former Intercontinental Champion, former World Heavyweight Champion, former Royal Rumble winner. We know the capabilities of what Jay can do in WWE. And he's done a fantastic job of doing so. And I've been praising Jay for a long time now. And I told you guys that Jay, all the decisions that he's gotten and the championship wins, the Royal Rumble, I mean, he busted his ass to get to those opportunities. Absolutely. I'm not sitting here saying that Roman might not have helped him to get to those accolades, but he busted his ass to get those accolades underneath his belt. My question is, like I said, where does Jimmy fall into place with this? This has to be something where the vocal point of this revamp bloodline, if you will, or slow burn revamp of the bloodline with Roman, what does this do for Jimmy Uso? Jimmy Uso has to be the catalyst for this storyline. He's got to be the guy. Because like I said, we already see what Roman can do. Roman's a god in WWE right now. That guy can do whatever the hell he wants. Jay, again, from what he's done, winning the Intercontinental Champion, World Heavyweight Championship, and winning the Royal Rumble, we know the capability of what Jey Uso can do. I think it's Jimmy Uso's turn to find out whether he can be a main event guy on his own or not. And that's going to be the whole telling story with this whole possible revamp of this bloodline. And like I mentioned to you guys earlier, and you were like, well, why'd you mention Solo Sikoa and what they're doing over in SmackDown? Because one, it's still a part of the bloodline, regardless. And number two, we had the return of Tonga Tonga last week. They're already hinting in a new possible member coming into the bloodline. Possibly. I mean, to me, honestly, I know, Tonga Loa is back. I know Tama Tonga is looking to come back from injury. I don't know if that's going to be the other guy they're bringing in, even though he was already there. I know some people were even hinting of Zilla Vatu coming in and joining, Solo Sikoa in the MFTs. I mean, like I said, bro, no matter how you look at it, I mean, the Bloodline storyline, always intensifies. I mean, the Bloodline storyline alone is probably going to be the headline leading into this year's War Games. I think War Games this year is going to be absolutely incredible. I mean, the way it's starting to slowly stack up, man. You got Division with Rollins, Reed, Breaker. I mean, you could possibly add another member to the Vision. And to be honest with you, that very well could happen after Crown Jewel or at Crown Jewel. We could see the likes of Drew McIntyre possibly joining the likes of the Vision. We could also see Brock Lesnar. So, I mean, if we could see Lesnar somehow incorporate himself into the Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes match, where Lesnar comes out and helps Rollins get the win over Rhodes, it's already a story in itself, because then we know who really is pulling the punches for the Vision. That it's not Seth Rollins, but in fact Paul Heyman. So that's a story in itself right there. So we could see Rollins, Lesnar, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed against Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and maybe CM Punk at this year's War Games. I'm not against it. I mean, if you're going to even add a fifth guy, let's say Lesnar and Drew McIntyre, then you're looking at Roman, Jimmy, Jay, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes, which, again, not against it. I think this year's War Games is going to be incredible. So there's also that angle. Now, if we're looking at it from the aspect of the match announcement, this Australian street fight that's taking place in Perth, Australia, between Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns, I'm going to tell you guys 100% that Bronson Reed needs to walk in and walk out as the winner of that match. Reed has to beat Roman clean. And some people might be confused by that, but you got to look at the narrative, bro. Reed has to come in, shock the world by beating Roman Reigns, because this is leading their match into War Games. And not for nothing, there's no way in hell that Rollins and Bronson Reed, a part of the Vision, are both going to take L's in the same PLE on the same night. It's not going to happen. Number one. Number two, like I said, you had to look at it outside the box and look at the narrative. This is all leading into War Games. And Paul Heyman, and the mastermind that he is in himself, is the mastermind behind the Vision, number one. Number two, that guy's got a plan with another plan on top of another plan. Like I said, I could see Lesnar or Drew McIntyre being a part of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins match. Absolutely. Not only to give Rollins the win, but to show Rollins that Paul Heyman is the guy who's pulling the punches for the Vision. Could also be Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker could also get himself involved in that matchup. Now, if we're looking at Braun Breaker getting involved in one of these matches, I can see more than likely him getting involved in the Roman Reigns Bronson Reed match. It's no disqualification, street fight. I can see Breaker come out and help facilitate Bronson Reed getting a win over Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel in Australia. Absolutely. Because it just writes itself. It's no DQ. Breaker can come out, hit a spear on Roman. Reed goes up for off the top rope, hits a tsunami. Multiple tsunamis on Roman Reigns, leaving him pretty much helpless in the middle of the ring. The Usos come out and try to save Roman, but it's too late. I mean, there could also be something like that. Again, leading us into another storyline for this year's War Games. I think, that's not for nothing, bro. I think, and I made comments about this, I think last week. I think Crown Jewel is going to be better than what we got at WrestlePalooza, hands down. I mean, I think we're looking at now 6 matches, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for Crown Jewel. I mean, you got Styles, Cena, you got Roman and Bronson Reed, you got Rhodes and Seth Rollins, you got Kabuki Warriors, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, you got Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton. I mean, there's quite a few matches on this card. So, again, man, I mean, I think we're just setting up for War Games, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward to it. The other thing I want to talk about, too, man, is Maxine Dupri. Now, to me, I'm not sitting here saying that she was the MVP of the night. But I will say this, and confidently say this, that what we saw last night between Maxine Dupri and Becky Lynch, this was Maxine Dupri's best match we've seen so far in her tenure at WWE. Hands down. This was the best match of her career so far. And again, you had to give hats off to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was pretty much putting her over last night. And Maxine, obviously, she's still green. There's still things that she needs to learn as far as in-ring ability and what she can do and move sets and stuff like that. But Becky Lynch put her over last night. And I thought it was a really good performance by Maxine Dupri, to be honest with you. At a time where Becky Lynch is on top of her game with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, I mean, you had to give credit where credit's due, man. Becky really did put her over last night in that matchup between herself and Maxine Dupri. And it was the best showing I've seen personally from Maxine Dupri since she's been in WWE. Hands down. Hands down. Other thing I want to talk about, obviously, AJ Styles trying to sell the match between himself and John Cena. You know, look, man, this is the end-all be-all. This is, the last time these guys are going to wrestle between Styles and John Cena. I mean, a lot of people obviously might be, frustrated with the build. I mean, look, bro, John Cena's only got a certain amount of dates left in WWE until he rides off in the sunset. So the build, obviously, is going to be a lot on Styles leading up to this matchup because the limited dates that John has. I mean, honestly, this match was pretty much set up just off Twitter alone. So, I mean, you're not going to hear a whole lot of rebuttal from John Cena until we get at Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia, when this match takes place. He's got limited dates left. So, I mean, I think his last match is sometime in December. So we got roughly the next 2 months with John until he's done. So, yeah, there's not going to be much build here between Cena and Styles for this matchup. I think Styles is going to retire next year. So, I'm looking forward to this match. I mean, do I think it's going to be match of the night? No. I think, honestly, the best match build-wise that we've seen for this event for Crown Jewel, hands down, has to be Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. And I told you guys that last week. The animosity that these two have towards each other, the storyline in itself, with Cody being the top guy, and Rollins feels as if he's getting, the carpet swept underneath his feet. That he should have been the top guy a long time ago. That he's been a day one guy. Where Cody left and came back, Rollins has been there since the entire time. And Rollins believes that he should be the top guy. And I'm not going to disagree with that he shouldn't. But right now, as of where we sit today, Cody Rhodes is that top guy. He is the quarterback of WWE. He's walking around with the Universal Championship. So there obviously is some hostility there between Rhodes and Rollins. And Rollins still has come up short against Cody Rhodes. That's why I know for a fact that Rollins is going to walk out and beat Cody Rhodes. Do I think it's going to be clean? No. Rollins should walk out of Crown Jewel beating Cody Rhodes. But it's not going to be clean. It's going to be some kind of attack from McIntyre or Brock Lesnar on Cody Rhodes that's going to allow Seth Rollins to secure a win. And the story writes itself. Paul Heyman is the guy who's running the show. He's, steering the ship for the Vision. And this is obviously going to irate and piss off Seth Rollins, which leads into a possible another story down the line. So again, who knows, bro? I think, like I said, I think this year's Crown Jewel is going to be better than what we got at WrestlePalooza. Hands down. The way the card stacked up, the storylines, and the build-up leading into this event, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm all for it. I think it's going to be a great event. I think from top to bottom, the card is absolutely stacked. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome, man. And the other thing, too, is I may or may not put a video about this. Santos Escobar, if you guys don't know, he has left WWE. He walked. He is not with the company anymore as of last night around midnight, 12:30. He did not re-sign a contract with WWE. He's a free agent now. He doesn't have a he can wrestle literally tomorrow for another company if he wanted to, whether it's TNA or wherever the hell he wants to go. He doesn't have a non-compete clause. He let his contract run out. He did not re-sign. So Santos Escobar, from what I understand, is a free agent as of today. So, best of luck to Santos, and wherever he decides to go, it's going to be a steal for whatever company gets the likes of a Santos Escobar. But As far as Monday Night Raw is concerned, man, I thought it was I thought it was a good show. I'm not gonna say it was the best show or the top show that we've seen in quite some time, but I will confidently say that this was probably the best Monday Night Raw we've seen in the past few months, hands down. I mean, it was very storyline driven. Obviously, a lot of it had to do with Roman, Jimmy, and Jay, CM Punk, LA Knight. I mean, it was a main vocal point of Monday Night Raw. We get the surprise win by Maxine Dupri. So, I mean, things are slowly starting to build back up, I think, for Monday Night Raw. For sure. I think so, to be honest with you. You know, SmackDown, on the other hand, they could step up their shit and figure out what the hell's going on with them. I mean, SmackDown is, brutal. But at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to this, this Crown Jewel event. I think it's going to be a really good event from top to bottom. The card looks absolutely stacked. We got a solid build here between Rhodes and Rollins. We get the match announcement on Monday Night Raw that it will be Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight. We got Rollins, Rhodes, Reigns and Reed, Vancouver and Stratton, Kabuki Warriors taking on Io and Rhea Ripley, and other matches that follow. So, I mean, honestly, I'm all for it. I will go on a limb and say that this year's Crown Jewel will surpass what we got at WrestlePalooza. But with that being said, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.